Hello and welcome to BFS Wargaming. So it's Patrick here with another video. So the thumbnail might have been a little bit misleading. I was in an article from Spiky Bits, which I'm very grateful to have been included in their article, and the title was basically the list that shocked the LGT, or non-meta list that shocked the LGT. And my list was featured. There was 3 lists and one of mine was featured. I don't by any means think that my list shocked the LGT, but I do think that it done better than it was expected to, because I didn't think that it would do that well. So I'm going to have a little chat as to why I feel like it did well, and also I'm going to talk about the units I used and what I used them for. So I've done the review, so you can go and look at that, and I've talked about all my games already. But this is more actually talking about the list, what I liked, what I didn't like, because I didn't go so much into that in the review of the LGT. So basically, starting off, I built the list around 2 Repulsor Executioners and 3 Invicta Warsuits. And then I added sort of like characters and everything else around that. Now I took, so I'll start off with the HQs. So I went with the Smash Captain, because obviously White Scar Smash Captain, it was on bike. He's very, very good, like extremely good. You can take 2 Warlord traits. You can make him basically move over terrain like it's not there, or you could make him so people couldn't fall back on a 4+. I chose basically every game I chose to move 2 extra inches and move over terrain and troops like they're not there. It was really, really good. It got me into some very good positions, and yeah, he was good. He was a big threat and people were worried about him. I then took the Librarian on bike. It was an index choice, which basically Null Zone and Might of Heroes. I took on him pretty much every turn just because Null Zone is good, just to get rid of them, for them really durable units like Wraiths or Homunculus Coven, things like that, or maybe the odd Leviathan Dread with a 4-up invuln. Anything that's got a pretty good invuln, I was sort of thinking, right, I get the bike right up there, Null Zone him, Smash Captain, then beats him to death. Then I had the Khan on bike, which was just good because he was sort of a bit of a counter punch. He stayed with my repulsors in every game, and he was giving them Overwatch on a 5-up with a relic when he needed to. Obviously, if I was playing a combat army, and he had the CP, the Chapter Master stratagem on him because he is a captain. So he was then re-rolling all hits for them as well. Worked really, really well. Yeah, loved it. So then I had 3 Eliminators in the list. The Eliminators are there because I thought, it would be a threat to like Plague Bearer lists where they've got all the characters behind. But having played them, you definitely need more than 3. Like you need 9, I would say minimum to take, and maybe backed up by some scout snipers if that's the way you want to go, you know. But yeah, with 3, they just weren't really a threat. I mean, don't get me wrong, I could have taken out the odd character if used properly, but I think I took a character. I did kill 1 character with them, I think, but that was over like 2 rounds of shooting, so it wasn't amazing. And then I had the 3 units of intercessors, 1 with 6 just because I had an extra point. They all had the assault bolters because with White Scars you can advance and charge, so I could advance, shoot and charge with them. Worked really, really well. I mean, they were sort of my objective holders, my screen, my just really, really good multi-use troops. They could then jump in with the shock assault rule and, you know, do some damage on horde armies. Yeah, they done exactly what I wanted them to do, and they were really, really good. I then had the 2 units of 2 fast attack options, which were the attack bikes. with multi-melters. These were good because you can, with White Scars, you can move and you don't suffer the penalty for shooting heavy weapons. The reason these were good is because I had no out of line of sight shooting, so I needed mobility. One, because I could get onto objectives with them, but two, they were good because they could get to stuff that was hidden out of line of sight relatively quickly. Especially because I could, if I wanted, advance them and then shoot them, like a unit of them with a stratagem, so they could shoot after they advanced. So it was very, very good, and I definitely I did like them. But then I had the two repulsors, like I said. They just sat at the back with the Khan, moved up when I needed them to. Sometimes I'd move them the full 10 because I wanted the small guns in range. I wasn't so bothered about the big guns, but most of the time I was using them under so I could get them big guns in range, and I was just really skirting around scenery to make sure they weren't in line of sight of too much stuff that could kill them. And that's how I had to play it, because obviously without any invuln save they do die fairly easy to anti-tank, so I had to try and play them like that. And then to finish off, I had the 3 Invicta tactical war suits. The war suits were amazing. I loved them. Obviously I only went first in one game, which is my last game, and on that game they killed, there was a load of Gretchen, so they killed probably about, I don't know, 30 Gretchen, and maybe even more than that, might have been 40 Gretchen. And then they killed 2 of the vehicles out of the Speed Freaks box. I can't remember which ones. They're all pretty similar. But killed 2 of them in close combat, with 2 getting into different ones. So, yeah, it was really good. In fact, no, I only killed 1, sorry, and the other one was down to like 3 wounds. So, yeah, but they done well. I was really, really pleased with that. And on the others, I didn't necessarily, like, one killed a whole unit of Hive Guard pretty much by himself. Like, they done what they needed to do, and they were big distractions. People had to deal with them, so they were shooting at them, trying to get rid of them instead of shooting at my repulsors. And all of my repulsors, bar I think the last game, survived every turn because of their war suits. They had to deal with the war suits, and then once the war suits were done and they'd dealt with them, then they were dealing with attack bikes and smash captains and intercessors, and something was trying to deal. Sometimes they were trying to deal with the repulsors, but they never really had enough to put into them, and that was partly due to the terrain. So yeah, I think the list worked really, really well, and it worked well, especially with the LGT terrain. And I used the terrain to my advantage because there was a lot of line of sight blocking through the centre, so I could then keep them repulsors a little bit, and only having the 2 made it easier as well rather than 3. Like, helped me keep that a bit better. So, changes to my list. So after the LGT, I had a look. Now I'm in a place, I've got 2 trains of thought, so I could add in, I definitely want to add in a Thunder Fire Cannon, 100%. I wanted to do that because even with the assault bike, the attack bike, sorry, it was still hard sometimes to get to stuff that was out of line of sight and hiding, and sometimes I just needed to get some stuff off objectives and I couldn't. So, and it's just that threat. They're like, oh, you know, I have to come out, I have to go, otherwise I'm just going to get bombarded by this. And also there's some cool strats to stop stuff moving and getting up in your face and stuff like that. So I wanted to add one in. I then looked at about the spearhead. With Iron Hands coming out, I feel like it would be a bit silly of me, because I've never really used the +1 damage for the assault doctrine, because by the time I get to the assault for turn 3, I don't have enough left to warrant using that. And because the heavy doctrine is so good on the executioners, if I was going to completely change my list, then it might be different. But with my current list, the Devastator doctrine is usually the best one for me. I'll maybe change it to tactical if I felt like I needed to, but I'm probably never really going to change it to assault. So I thought the best probably for me would be to put Spearhead of Iron Hands in with Feros and a Phobos Captain, which means that I'd be taking out the Eliminators, I'd take out all of the attack bikes, and also, oh yeah, the Librarian on bike I've changed to a Librarian with jump pack, purely because the Librarian on bike is an index option, and they've said that they're basically gonna get rid of index options for tournaments and stuff. So I was like, well, it's gonna have to go at some point. So I should imagine that will happen. It might have already happened. I don't know if tournaments are accepting them at the moment or not, but I'm taking them out anyway. So I basically got two options. I could keep the Iron Hands and have that Iron Hands Spearhead, which would be very, very good. And it's, like I say, almost stupid for me not to, because the White Scars aren't doing anything for that Spearhead. The other thing is, I could, if I wanted to keep it pure, what I would do is take out the Captain, the Phobos Captain and Feros, and I'd put back in the attack bikes and have it like that. And then just put the Khan, keep the Khan as the Chapter Master, and have the 5-up relic for Overwatch. But I feel like the Iron Hands Spearhead is just so much more efficient, and I'm not worried about getting the Iron Hands special rule, and I'm not worried about getting the White Scars special rule. So it just sort of makes sense. So I think that's probably the way I'm going to go, because I think it's fairly balanced. Would I like the attack bikes in there? Yeah, I would like the attack bikes in there, but out of anything, they're the things that would have to go for that list to become Iron Hands, for the Spearhead to become Iron Hands. So I'm fairly happy. Let me know what you think. Tell me if you think I should stay pure White Scars, because I am a bit of a purist. I do like staying pure, but I also, you know, if you want to be competitive, you have to play what's best to a certain degree. And it's like, if I go and then I get my executioners get killed really easy, I'll be like, why didn't I just take them as Iron Hands? But you know, that is a conversation we can have in the comments. So let me know what you think. Do you think I should stay pure, or do you think I should turn to the dark side and have a Spearhead of Iron Hands? So thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.